Welcome to A Magical Life, Health, Wealth and Weight Loss. I'm your host, Magic Barclay, lead practitioner at Holistic Natural Health Australia and #1 best-selling author. In this podcast, I aim to give you practical tips on how to accelerate and sustain your health, increase your financial, spiritual and emotional wealth, and to look at something that haunts many of us needlessly, weight loss. In some episodes, I'll have guests available to give you even more tips, but in others, the floor is yours. Drop us a line at A Magical Life Podcast on Facebook and let me know what you would like to know more about. Now, sit back and enjoy, because it is time for you to create and truly discover a magical life. Welcome back to A Magical Life. I'm your host, Magic Barclay, and today Damla Aktekin joins us, and she is an inner child energetic wound healer, crystal healing teacher, and soul healing writer who helps other self-healers and practitioner healers move beyond the energetic wounds of their inner children and shine brighter than they thought possible so that they can fully show up in their lives to heal themselves, their families, and their soul community. Through her own healing journey, Damla discovered a unique way to approach crystal healing, which is based on cultivating a loving, co-creative, and respectful relationship with crystals that activates their limitless healing potential. She is the author of life-changing daily practice journals, creator of the Chakra Bliss Vault Crystal Healing Membership, and the host of the Conversations with Healers podcast. You can find out more about Damla and her offerings and take a quiz to determine your energetic wounds and how they show up in your life on her website. Welcome, Damla.
Hi, happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you here. We don't talk about crystals and healing nearly enough. And I know I wear crystals. I use crystals at home. As a practitioner, it's probably not something I talk to my clients about, and I know I should be. Why are crystals so powerful?
Well, it all starts with you, meaning that in my own healing journey, I came to realize or get in touch with the fact that I am a crystal. So are all of us. Our bones are 65% or more minerals. Your eyes are liquid crystalline water. Any other water or plasma in your body is crystalline. So is your DNA. So is your fascia. So this liquid crystalline, mostly liquid crystalline structure that we have has a way of connecting with the solid crystals and has a way of remembering our orderedness, our coherence, our uniformity through their molecular structure, which is deeply uniform and deeply nature-made organic beauty. So it's a way for you to remember the beauty that you are and to embody the beauty that you are.
Fantastic. Now, Damla, I ask all of my guests the same 3 questions. Everyone gives me such different answers, and I really do love the diversity. So here's the first one. What can your expertise do to accelerate health? Not just physical, but also emotional and spiritual health.
That's a beautiful question. I actually just published a little mini video about that. And the way you can think about it is, we are all brilliant and we are all light filled underneath everything. And what happens is throughout our lifetime, what I call energetic wounds, any non-life supporting or flow stopping influences come into our lives. And we begin to sort of cover that brilliance with different patterns in our physical bodies and our spiritual and emotional bodies. And what happens is, I talk about these daily healing practices like daily crystal healing, EFT tapping, even daily guided meditations. But the one thing I want to emphasize is that those things are wonderful and great in sort of scratching the surface and helping you define what it is that you're dealing with and become aware of your wounding. And when you get to that place, it's extremely helpful for you to partner with someone like me or another healer you trust to go into a more accelerated, deeper, more dedicated journey. Because when you dedicate time and resources and energy, your system goes, whoa, we have this beautiful space where Damla is going to hold us safe. So let's bring up all the stuff, all the trauma that we haven't been able to solve on our own. And that's what I help people with, is holding that space for them and helping them realize the brilliance underneath all the stuff that covers it.
I think that's really important, not only to have a practitioner holding that space for you, but to realize yourself as the client, as the patient, that you need to hold space for yourself as well, to allow that breakthrough, to allow that flow of energy in order to heal.
Yes, absolutely. And it is, I always tell people, like, I can be there for you for a limited time and we can sort of jumpstart your healing and get you from any plateau you find yourself in to the next stage of your evolution. But then it's going to take daily love, just like caring for a crystal, a child, a plant, another living being in your life. You are there and your inner light spark matters. And those daily healing practices are definitely there to support you. And it's your job, though, to say, become aware of what's happening in terms of your next stage of evolution and to say, okay, this is something that I need help with.
Now, we also talk about wealth here. People think wealth is just the financial, but it's also your personal wealth, your emotional wealth. So, what are your top 3 tips for the listeners to create wealth?
My number one tip is that you cannot create anything, let alone wealth, in an overworked, overtaxed, energetically depleted electrical state, which means your nervous system has to come first. And when you begin to take care of your nervous system through practices like crystal healing and meditations and EFT tapping, what happens is you begin to open up to um, just even becoming aware of what's here. Because when we are in a heightened nervous system or a frozen nervous system response, we're not able to even register, become aware of, or appreciate what's here, let alone begin to open up to what might be coming towards us. So that's the very first thing. The second thing is gratitude, and gratitude in the way of realizing that you, in this particular moment, are the seed for anything else that you create in your life tomorrow, the next month, the next year, and the next, couple of years in your life. So what that means is you don't ask a seed, why haven't you opened up yet? You don't tell a seed, oh, you know what? You didn't bloom yet, so you're worthless. You take care of that seed. You take care of it with every little fiber of your being. And you realize that taking care of is going to be leading up to the blooming and is going to be leading up to you creating whatever it is you wish to create in your life. And my third and final tip is continuously redefining what success means to you. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I recently went through this with her. And the way I personally define being successful is knowing myself so much that I begin to move towards things that feel good and that feel healing and that feel expanded to me, and move away from and put a boundary around things that don't feel good or expanded. That's the first step. And then the next step is to take care of my needs, to take care of the needs of my inner children to take care of the multi layers of my needs, my spiritual needs, emotional needs, physical needs, as best as I can, and to love and forgive myself as best as I can. So knowing myself to say yes or no, and in the meantime, because saying yes takes a certain amount of energy from our systems, saying no does the same. Having resources, inner and outer resources enough to be able to move towards the yes and to be able to move away from the no items on my life.
And our final standard question, Damla, is around weight loss. Many people are battling with their weight, and it seems to be like a never ending journey. Have you ever battled your weight? If so, how did you win the war? And what can you offer the listeners who are on this pathway?
I'm going to try to give it to you in a way that I understand it. Again, for me, it's not so much about the weight. It's about saying yes to what nourishes me and saying no to what doesn't, and to resource myself, refill myself, reheal myself enough so that I can say no to things that don't feel good and yes to things that do feel good. Gaining weight isn't so much about the food choices per se, because you're saying yes to something that doesn't feel good because you haven't yet developed the energetic resources to say no, or you're in the process of doing that. So understanding that in your choices, there's a deeper truth. Your trauma brain is making choices for you instead of your bliss brain, your expandedness, your flow state making choices. And again, coming back to the self-compassion, it doesn't have to be a perfect journey. It just has to be your journey. And it's not so much of war state the way I see it. It's more of if I find myself leaning towards things that don't ultimately feel good, like, those huge fries or those chips or I don't know, chocolate or something like that. That's to me an indication that there's a deeper need underneath that I need to look at and be with, and to reach into the inner children who are trying to communicate to me through these impulses.
I love that answer. That's great. Now let's talk about what you do with people. How do people work with you? What are all the things that are in your toolbox?
Yeah, well, they can find all that I do at adropofom.com, adropofom.com. We are all little ohms, little soups of vibration swimming in a bigger soup of ohm or vibration. And it's up to us to figure out how to take care of the ohmness, the vibrational essence of ourselves. And for that, I have a membership called Chakra Bliss Vault Crystal Healing Membership, where people can go in and sort of go into their own self-healing journeys. And if you want to go deeper than that, I offer online one-on-one inner child healing sessions. I am a clairvoyant and clairaudient. So my process is being in the moment with you and sort of guiding you through that with moment to moment guidance and with a lot of gentleness and care. And I also have quite a few free resources that people can look at. There's a inner child healing meditation that they can download. I have an EFT tapping that they can work with. So if you go to adropofom.com, you can see what is available to you. And I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. So you can find me very easily. And I hope to connect with you.
But before people do that, Damla, what is inner child healing? Can you tell us exactly how people can heal from addressing something that maybe they haven't heard about before?
Inner child healing it's a journey of cultivating connection with the parts of you that need your loving gaze, and realizing that in those parts, in the parts that hurt the most, that have the most discomfort and the pain, whether it's emotional, spiritual, financial, or any other kind of pain, that has an expression in your body. And when you go into that place, you also realize within that pain, within that discomfort, is also a hidden, unrealized potential. That is the spark, the quantum, timeless spark of the inner children, the one that didn't get to be realized because you ran into other limitations and other non-life affirming forces. And it's now up to you to say, okay, I'm willing to go into this soil, into the earth of my being, to realize what hidden gifts, what hidden life sparks might be there. And I call them inner children because I've discovered that there's more often than not a particular age of the spark that comes up. Often people would tell me, they see their, 5-year-old selves within the pain, or 12-year-old selves. And these inner children speak to us through imagery, through sound, through color. They don't always speak with words, especially like 5-year-old or younger. It's not going to be through quote unquote intelligent or highly complex words. It's going to be through our imagination, through being open to the way that they want to communicate, that you can discover a lot that wants to be uncovered, discovered, and brought out to the surface, and the hidden potential realized.
So many people have things happen early in their childhood. This is something I talk about with my clients a lot. And we store energy of the event or of the memory. How can healing with crystals draw out that energy that may be buried deeply?
What crystal healing helps you with is, first of all, again, coming back to that organizing principle. If you approach them as something new to be connected with each time, just like you would when you see your lover, when you see a loved one, a friend, you don't assume what they're feeling or what they're needing in the moment, but you are open to discovering. Similarly, when you go into your engagement or your practice with crystals with that sort of openness, rather than saying something like, how can I use you for my own benefit? Versus saying, how can I connect with you lovingly? That there is just blueprint enough for you to update and change your own connection with yourself. Rather than saying, I want to get rid of this part of my body because it's painful. I want to just ignore this part because it's painful. You are sort of opening into a conversation with all parts of yourself. And what crystal healing does also is they help you amplify and focus your intentions as waves of energy. And they can, as beings of timeless presence, because they have been here much longer than us and they will continue to be here much longer. They have an immense wisdom that you can tap into to sort of begin to make sense of, first, bring flow and order to your system at first and at this most basic engagement. And then secondly, to begin to get co-creative within understanding your predicament better and in understanding your hidden potential better.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for explaining all of this to us today. I know I've gotten a lot out of our chat, and I hope the listeners have too. Now, remind us again where people can find you.
Absolutely. Again, I am Damla Aktekin, and my website is adropofom.com, adropofom.com. And you can find me with the same handle, A Drop of Om, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And I offer a lot of free resources, as I mentioned earlier. Those might be a wonderful place to start. And if you're called to explore your inner child energetic wounds, you can also take a look at how to work with me privately.
Some great information there, listeners. Damla, thank you for your time chatting with us today.
My pleasure.
And listeners, thank you for your time as always. Big shout out to everyone that sends messages saying how much they're enjoying our podcast. Don't forget that we have more great guests coming up. And as always, listeners, go forth and create your magical life. Thanks for listening today. Please subscribe to hear future episodes, leave a review, and share this podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at A Magical Life Podcast or at Holistic Natural Health Australia. That's holistic with a W. You can find us on Instagram at Holistic Natural Health or at www.holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. That's where you'll access all sorts of articles, freebies, and more.